Still single? Here's why. My guest, Love Doctor Barry Selby, will tell why and what you can do about that. And I like to introduce I am Gita Gavare, and I am diva mentor and edutainer, and I help women to be alluring and happy. And my guest, Barry Selby, is one very special who can help us. And he is a love doctor, and he is passionate champion for the divine feminine. He helps strong, successful single women stop shortchanging their love life. When women get manipulated and hurt, it really ignites his passion to help them become wise and smart in their dating choices. He is passionate about women being honored and respected in love. And this is so wonderful. This is what we need so much in our times, in our worlds, because there are so many women. But I know by myself who are struggling with love life. You know, we don't know what to do because we are sometimes even desperate to meet the right man and we all want love. So I'm so happy that you are here and you will tell us and help at least some. I know there's maybe a big thing, and I know you have written this. I have not read yet that your amazing book, a bestseller, 50 ways to love your lover. Yeah, it's a wonderful. I have to have the link, and you have course and you are coaching women, helping. So please, without further ado, could you please tell a bit about yourself and how did you came to this? You know, teaching women about the divine feminine.
Sure. Where do I begin? Basically, I was interviewed recently when somebody asked me, where did this come from? And I shared that in my teenage years at school, I was very clear that I saw the girls around me in my class and my peer group at school would choose the wrong guys. I mean, that's the way I saw it. And I would see them being hurt, breakups, the guys were cheating on. I mean, this is teenagers. And it hurt me. I felt upset, like somehow I was able to fix it, which I couldn't. But I knew inside there was something wrong that could be resolved. Now, I didn't do anything about that because I didn't have any skills. However, over the next, from very mid-20s until now, I've been very immersed in the personal growth industry. Seminars, teachings, trainings, psychology, background, spiritual teachings. Because I knew there was more to life than what I was learning from just being in life. And I also learned over all these years of studying that my relationships were getting better, but I kept screwing them up still. And it wasn't until I studied with a couple of teachers about 10 years ago where I really discovered the piece that was missing for me. Because we all have our own stuff. But the piece that changed my life was learning the understanding of the polarity of the masculine and the feminine. It's so obvious to me now, but it was such a missing piece for most people on the planet. The world has changed so much over the last 60, 70 years for men and women that women have learned to do things a certain way, which has not helped their romantic life. And this is one of the core pieces of my work. So I'm going to get into that now. The sexual revolution of the 60s, which was the feminist movement, this is called that in the United States. I'm from England, but I live in the United States. The feminist movement empowered women in a big way. It helped them basically become business savvy, to take charge of their own lives, to create their own bank accounts, get their own car, take their own jobs, and make a life for themselves. In so doing, it started to deteriorate their relationship choices. Most women, especially business women, successful women, I dated quite a few, so I saw what was happening, would end up being competitive with the men. And that would happen in their relationships too. So relationships, it would be like this. And it wasn't healthy. And I paid the price of my own journey, but I was not someone who just said, I'll just keep going, I'll find somebody else. I became passionate about studying what was going on. And so I started learning more and more about the dysfunction that was going on. And so in my book and in my work, I help my clients really learn, one, to grow in their feminine power. So I'm such a champion for the feminine, because I can see, and this is big picture stuff, that the world is needing the feminine more than ever. Women have been trained and have been taught to act like men and be like men in the world. I mean, in the 60s, women were basically cutting their hair, taking off their makeup, burning their bras was famous, putting on suits and going to work. Well, it was sexy in one way, but not healthy in relationship. And so women have been playing a secondary role to men in some ways still, even though they're competing with men. The pay scales haven't been right. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but the truth is women haven't really got their freedom and not standing the level they need. And the feminine energy that women bring is needed more than ever for us as men and for the world in general. So that's the big picture stuff. But in romance, women haven't, generally speaking, remembered their feminine gifts to bring to a relationship. That's part of the work I do with my clients.
Yeah, I can see that too, because I also think we are afraid to be feminine. We are afraid to be, that will be misused. It's like, and I think we don't know.
Well, the feminine is an interesting word. I mean, feminine power, I talk about feminine mastery in a lot of ways, because women were taught being female was a secondary thing, or being weak. But femininity is not the same thing. And there's a difference. You know, back in the 40s and 50s after the Second World War, women were usually the stay-at-home housewife. They would take care of the kids and the house, and they cook and they clean, and the man would be out being the breadwinner, which is what led to the sexual revolution, because women basically were saying, we need more than this, and it was really needed. But the pendulum swung too far the other way. And so women have lost touch with their feminine heart. And truly, it's almost like a warrior level. It's not weakness, it's a power that women have that's been denied them, only because they've not been using it. And men don't understand it, and frankly, men are afraid of it, I would say. Yeah,
but I think most of women are very angry. Angry to men, and at the same time, they want men, and they want love, and we feel lost.
It's all confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally have. I have the same feeling, and that's one reason I love coaching women, because when I help them to own their feminine power, they light up, and they become so much more authentic and so much more inspiring. I mean, I almost fall in love. I would say I almost fall in love with my clients, because I see it so in awe of their beauty and their magnificence when they own their femininity, and then they go out in the world, and then the world gets changed by that. So that's part of what fuels my work, because the joy of seeing that happen. It's so inspiring.
So yes, we agree. The feminine is the way. But what are the first steps? How you can step in use your feminine power if you're a woman?
Well, the thing is, what women have been told is that they've got to tone down who they are. And the problem is that men and women are very different. I mean, there's some of my teachers that I've studied with have talked about this. I mean, John Gray's classic about the Mars and Venus, men from Mars, women from Venus, because we're very different. And in the emotional expression, men and women are extremely different. We don't express our emotions very well. Women do it much more easily than we do. And because women express powerfully that way, men are uncomfortable with that and told them to stuff it down. That's why women are angry, because they've been repressed. Two things. Women need to be authentic to express their feelings at all times. I believe this. Second thing is, men need to know it's okay for women to do that. And the way that I've heard it explained, the way I've learned it as well, is for men, and so this is a shout out to the men as well, when a woman is voicing her emotions, her upset, her feelings, his job is one thing only: stay present. Not to fix it, not to argue it, not to change it, not to run away, but to stay present. And that for me is one of the biggest lessons for men and women. It changed my life when I figured that one out, or I should say I learned that one, because I didn't know what to do with it. You know, as most men, we don't have tools to help women with their emotions, because we don't have emotional expression as easily in our bodies. We suppress things, or we just don't have a way of expressing it. So for women, largely it's to recognize, first of all, that being emotional is part of their DNA and it's okay. Second thing is to recognize that the power they have as feminine women is more powerful than it is to be masculine in their own bodies. The way to describe it is that the feminine energy is the life force of the planet. It's hugely powerful, and when they're not expressing it, it's denied to everybody else. So first of all, women need to know it's safe to do that. Second thing is women need to know that when men get over their shock, they will appreciate it more too. You know, because the thing is, there are women who, let me say this, there are women, when women are in the feminine, and this is a key difference, it's not the same as women just expressing and just being noisy. It's different because it's a deeper place. It's a powerful place. The way that one of my teachers talks about it is that if you imagine a woman's energy, the feminine energy is like a powerful river that is changing the landscape. The masculine energy is the river banks that create a containment so that the river can flow. And it's not a control, but it's more of a dance together, because the river could break the banks any time. So the power of the feminine is that big, but the feminine power has effectiveness because there's a masculine energy supporting it. And its key word is support. I believe that going forward, relationships will be more functional as men honor, respect, and support the feminine expression in their partner. And vice versa, that women have done this for years. They've been supporters for the masculine's legacy and work in the world. It's got to go both ways. That's probably the future of relationships. I think it's needed more than ever.
Yeah, so we women have to learn, because I think we have a lot of feelings, but we have learned that we have to be good girls and we never should be angry, all that. So many women suppress their feelings, and then
Right.
they are becoming nasty in different ways, you know, not expressing themselves clearly, because I think we are afraid to say that. But also, like, I can see now in this time in the world, we are the strong women, and we want these men who, you know, stand there for us, and we can be all that. But it seems like there is no men. The men are scared, or they are too soft, you know. It's like when you, like, I have spoken with several women and many women because I work also with them. It's like we are looking for those men who stand their ground, you know, are there, and we can be safe and, you know, be ugly and express our anger, you know. But it's like
Well, let me add this piece then, for the men. Well, from where I grew up with, there was a paradigm where there was the bad boy and the nice guy, which is the macho guy and the weak guy. And the problem has been, or the challenge, or the way it's evolved, is that men did not understand that we have a role to play that's beyond the macho. The machismo of the old way of being for men was like, it's my way, the highway, ego-driven, big balls, and no care about anybody else. It was always competitive and combative. So when women are in their strength, men are scared of that. They either try to suppress it or they run away from it. The masculine man, which is the counterpart to the feminine woman, is really a man who is understanding that he's driven by a mission and purpose, which is a strong spine, like clarity and direction. Also with an open heart, because compassion for the world. It's really legacy. And for me as a man, I realize more and more, my work in the world, which I do what I do, that's my legacy. And it takes me out of my ego, because it's not about me, it's about my clients, it's about the world. And when I'm in that place, I have a much bigger place to stand that doesn't feel threatened by women. Exactly the problem that men face is that they feel threatened when a woman's that powerful, because men don't express that way. When a man is in understanding of his true destiny, that he's got a legacy to leave, whether it's having a family and kids, or changing a social condition, or producing some book, or whatever it is, when he has that clarity, then nothing will shake that. So he can feel safe in his own beingness to be there for his woman and not run away. So it's both sides of the conversation. Both men and women are evolving. And in my work, mostly because I work with women, because to be honest, women listen, we don't as men as much. But I have recommendations for men of books they can read and work they can do. I've studied with that changed my life. And so I'm passionate about women being strong in the feminine, as long as the men step up and strong in the masculine. So there's this equality there. Different but equal.
So I guess then we women have to make the first step to become more feminine, right? because we are more open to change. Men are seem to be not, of course, one should not generalize, but if you go to self-development places, know that there's mostly women. They are mostly women. So right, it's all about us. We are the ones who have to change the world. We are the ones who have to make the men we want them to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I'm being guided to speak at women's conferences now about this. For women's business conferences, say that we need you in your feminine because you're going to be leading the way. And it's time, because over the last, and I'm talking, historically speaking, over the last thousands of years, we've had a very patriarchal society. Men have led the way, and women have been placed in second place. And I believe there's a turning point happening. It's time for women to step into leadership in a much bigger way, not just in leadership, because there are so many women who are stepping into government leadership that are basically copying the men, not being the feminine heart. And it's sad to watch. There are women out there, I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there's some in America where they are basically battling it out with the men just as if they were men. There's no difference energetically, and it's the same. It means feminine leadership, and all over the world, not just in government, corporate, in her family, in society. And I'm a big proponent of that.
Yeah, I agree totally. I live in Denmark, it's Europe, and here too, the men are nice, they are very helpful and they share. But the problem is that they have lost their masculine side. They become too soft, as women, we say. Yeah. So what can we do? How we start to be really feminine? Because it's difficult. You have to be in the work, you have to be quite masculine to do the things. And then it's confusing, as you said. How we start with the feminine.
First thing is understand that and this is the subtlety of this, that men and women carry both energies. We carry masculine and feminine energy within us. So for you ladies, is when you come home from work, because at work you may have to be masculine to do things, depending on the work you're doing. But if you're doing things that are very orderly, it's very masculine, it's the way it is. When you come home, your priority needs to be self-care. So a bubble bath, relaxing, things that restore your femininity is good, because a lot of women have been trained. I watch it happen over here in LA. Women come from work and then they got to go to the gym and work out, and they're going to do other things, and they're basically doing masculine energy 24/7. And that makes dating harder, first of all. Secondly, it's not their authentic nature. So when women are remembering their nature, so when they come home, they decide to change into softer clothes, or to have a bubble bath, or to do things that are more creative and artistic, allow them to touch into their femininity. It's just the energy back and restores them. Going out shopping with other women is a good way of doing it too. Going to yoga is a good thing. There are things that aren't innately feminine, because women can touch in so quickly, so easily when they remember. That's the starting point.
And those sounds wonderful things. They are the best. I think we were afraid to do that, because we have learned we have to do this. We have to, fix the homes. The jobs have to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect. So we don't have time to take care of ourselves. We put ourselves last.
That's not good.
And then, say it's the opposite. If we want to not to be single, to meet the masculine men and have wonderful lives, then the most important thing is to take self-care, good self-care, right?
Well, because you become more magnetic. Okay, so let me switch gears slightly, because to think about why you're still single. That was the title of the discussion.
Yeah.
One of the challenges, or one of the things that we face, is the society, because it's been skewed towards the masculine. The dating arena is largely centered around, to be honest, matchmakers, online dating sites, smartphone apps, and other sorting systems that help you find someone to meet. The challenge, I'll say this another way, I keep saying the word challenge, but there's no better way of saying it. Men in the masculine are the hunters. That's the innate style we have, because in old society, the men were focused on going out getting the prey. And so we go for a target, accomplish a goal, completion, and we win. That's kind of the way our cycle works. The feminine, in olden ways, was the protector and the gatherer. So what they would do is protect all the kids in the villages whilst they go out and find the right sort of food, keep an eye on predators, protect them, each other, keep together, and become a network. And so the feminine gift is the ability to network together and have this ability to really keep an eye on many things at once. But it's a receptive mode. The feminine wasn't out going to kill the predators. They were just watching out for them, protecting, and if they needed to, they would take care of the family. The masculine was the hunter. What I'm saying to say is that the online dating sites are a hunting technique.
Yeah.
Because when you go on a dating site, you're just going, is this the target I want? Is this the one I want? Is this the one I want? That's what men do. So it's designed for men and it's designed by men for men. But when women use that system, they become masculine because put them in that single focus. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
This is huge. I actually never thought about that. I never felt good about online dating. I have tried, I admit, but I didn't like that too. It's like, oh, but this is, I really didn't see in this way. That's great. Wow.
And let me look at some more layers so that there's more to the conversation. The other challenge, or the other influence about why we date, is that we tend to drag all of our history into our next relationship. So not only is it about the experience we have, but the way we look for a relationship is governed by how we used to look for them in the past. And so the influences of our younger years, and this is something I can talk about as a much bigger picture, but this is something we don't talk about much. I mean, these matchmakers don't talk about this. Most dating coaches don't talk about this, but this is stuff I've studied and watched by other teachers. There's a teacher, there's an author and a speaker named Bruce Lipton who wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. And this, in his book, it basically speaks to what I talk about, this concept. When we're born, we don't come in with user manuals. You know, there's no like how to raise a child. There's also how to be raised by parents. We don't get these books. So it's really not something we have skills for coming in. For the first 7-8 years of our lives, we don't have a rational conscious mind functioning. That's our frontal cortex. That's not yet developed. And midbrain, which is our, you call it our subconscious, it really is a wide open sponge, like a receptor taking the whole universe. So in the first 6-7 years of life, when we look out in the world, we see everything modeled for us by our parents, by the adults, by caregivers, whoever it is we see out in the world, and we think that's the way it is. So the way our parents demonstrate relationship, demonstrate love, demonstrate connection, or lack of it, is what we take in automatically into our subconscious. And it's not filtered by anything because our conscious mind isn't ready yet. So then around age 7, 8, 9 years old, our conscious mind, our frontal cortex, comes online. It's almost like turning it online, suddenly becomes alive and aware, and becomes both a filter system and a gatekeeper for what we then see and decide. And we have discernment, we make choices, we go, no, that doesn't work, that does work. Unfortunately, behind that gate is 7 years of history that we've taken in without any filter. So, for example, if when you were a kid, your parents, well, the negative way, maybe your father was a workaholic, was never home, or your mother was always worried and frustrated and concerned. In your adult life, you will tend to automatically attract partners that will repeat that experience. And you won't do it consciously. It's subconscious. Now, the funny thing is, you go onto your online dating sites or smartphone apps and you start looking at people who are attractive and you click on somebody, you will not know consciously, because it won't be written out, but almost guaranteed, when you meet that person, get together with that person, those same patterns from way back when will still repeat. Because the power of our subconscious is so strong that even though you think you're in control, you're not. The subconscious is. And the power of the subconscious is massive. In Bruce Lipton's work, as I mentioned, Bruce Lipton, he talks about how the conscious mind is only 5% of our power. A subconscious mind is 95%. So if you imagine that you're in a car driving, if you're in Europe, driving to Paris, you've got the steering wheel as the conscious adult driving to Paris, but the subconscious mind has another steering wheel driving to Berlin, you're going to end up in Berlin because the power is so much stronger. So what has to happen is having your subconscious mind and your conscious mind be on the same page. And that's part of the work I do with my clients. It is kind of a counseling modality, because a lot of it's forgiveness and healing the past. But unless you had a perfect upbringing with your parents where they loved each other and everything was great, which most of us didn't have, then your adult relationships will tend to be impacted by how you're raised. And that's one of the big things.
That explains, therefore, so many people are disappointed and unhappy. They cannot find anyone in online. So please tell about your book and tell about your course, how you help people. It's only for women? You help mainly women?
Well, to be honest, women listen better than men do. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
And women are also willing to do some healing work. So the challenge is that, it's funny the word challenge keeps coming up. So many challenges. We men aren't educated to believe that there's anything wrong with us. We think we're fine. That's the way men are raised, especially the white straight man. But women are looked upon as they was like never as good as the men were. So women have believed they had something to work on, which meant they were more open to learn. I mean, the side effect of this was men don't think we need to learn anything. We're fine. We're okay. Not true. But women were told that they weren't the perfect and best initially growing up. So women have usually been more willing to seek out help and guidance because they want to learn and grow, which is great. So the benefit of women is they are willing to learn. And to be honest, as a coach, it's easy to work with women who are willing to learn than men who are not. So I specialize in working with women. Plus, the other part is, being a man, I can help women understand the male viewpoint and express it so they can see the differences.
Yeah.
I study with women and know how to put them together in a way that works.
That we like, yeah. It makes us feel safe. So what you write about that in your book too? Tell please about...
Yes, it's also about modeling that too. This is my book.
Yes.
Sorry, on the screen, so you read there. 50 Ways to Love Your Lover is the title.
That's a wonderful 50 ways to love your lover. It's many ways.
The book is for singles and couples, for men and women. There's principles for everything in there, both romantic and sex, but also how to be with yourself, how to be more authentic, how to attract what you want. The book's in physical form, as you can see. You can find it on Amazon. If you want to get, right now I've been doing a sale, a flash sale on my book, the digital version. So it's on ebook as well as Kindle. On my website, you can find the book. You go to barryselby.com/book. You can find it there. But if you want to get the flash sale on the ebook version, you just put in barryselby.com/ebook. Then you actually can get to that page. It's not visible publicly. It's only $7 for the digital version. It's downloadable right to your phone, your computer. Normally it's more. But basically, the book is just in a way a distillation of 25, 30 years of my own study, and my own learning, my own mistakes, and the teachings I've received. I do mention in the back of the book several teachers I work with, because I really have respect and appreciation for those people who helped me get to where I am. And I often recommend certain books to other people that I recommend out of this book. So this book is a great starting point. It's not the be-all and end-all. There's plenty of other books out there too. But I'm passionate about my work. The funny thing is, this book was really the distillation of what I already talked about. But suddenly now, because I'm an author, people think I'm much smarter than I was. And I'm like, but I always talk about this stuff because it's in physical form. They go, wow, you're an author, you must know stuff. I knew it before.
I have to get that book, the first thing. And you have also online course, or you also...
I do have online courses. I have a course on my website that's in 2 versions, which is called The Dating Advantage. And it's an 8-module program for women, because it's designed for the feminine, to really get clear about what they want to attract, to really get a clear vision, but also then have an experience of what their vision feels like to attract what they really want. It's part of the work I do, and it's 2 other pieces of the work I talk about, which is self-love and clarity of direction. But it's much deeper than that in conversation. That program is available as a physical program that you can download as a home study workbook, which is the economical way of doing it, and also got it available as an online course with private coaching. My biggest work is working with clients one-on-one, and I commit to working with them for at least 3 months because I really want to take them where they want to go. And basically, if you go to my website, you can find the coaching information there, and you can then read about all the notes, but then you have to book a conversation with me first. You can't just buy the program and sign up and need to talk first, because I want to know where you are. Because to be honest, I can't help everybody. One, there isn't time, but two, if they're not open to moving, I can't help them. I can only help you as far as you want to go. I can show you where you want to go, but if you don't want to go there, there's no point. So that's why I have a preview conversation before we start. So that's what I do. Yeah. So coaching is my favorite thing. Although I'm starting to do more live events, and being in LA, I don't know if I'm doing it in Europe yet. I will be back in England in October. So who knows? By then, enough people interested, and I get something going there. I'll have a weekend event in Europe. Who knows? That's possible.
Yeah, it is. We need so much in Denmark, but it's also great that we can already start now with your book and also online coaching. Is it possible? Yes. Yeah, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I have clients in Europe and I have clients in Hong Kong as well. So I can work with clients anywhere in the world as long as we've got time workable, based on times when it's workable. I know, for me, it's like 8 hours difference or 9 hours difference from where you are. You still can work it that way too. So it's not based on location.
That's wonderful. I love these times because now it's not like in our parents' times where it was more difficult. Now we have all the tools, and now we have you to help us, to become more feminine, more happy, and to meet the right man, and also to maintain the wonderful relationship, because not only to meet the man, but also have to live that happy, keep it. Yes, that's right.
Absolutely.
So, and before we go, there's one more thing you want to say to women, something really...
I would say that there is one thing I would say. Ladies, let's say this this way. Ladies, love isn't out there, it's in here. So if you really want to attract the right relationship, your practice you can do yourself every day of the week, spend 5 minutes telling yourself that you love yourself. You start with that. That'll change every relationship in your life you do on your own time.
Thank you. This is the basis. That will take with me every day, at least 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Barry Selby. That was, that opened my eyes so much about, about the masculine, feminine, and the online dating, and that all that is, it starts from us. The love is here first, right?
Yeah.
And then also we can get your wonderful book to help us and the coaching. So I would like to say thank you for sharing your knowledge and for doing this job, for helping us, to get that love we are looking for and to show the way and tell us how. So
thank you. My pleasure.